Hey guys, today's story is about the tale of Grunkalina. Sit down and buckle up, kiddos. Keep your pearls ready and nearby to clutch, because today we hear the tale of the chuckle duck Grunkalina. This is a slow burn, so bear with me, and every chair or broken table that piles onto the growing bonfire. Grunkalina is the main character of this story, just as she would claim she was in every campaign. Entirely due to the forceful wishing of her party, she assured. Was Grunkalina ever in a game I ran? Absolutely not. Was she a curse set upon my life, sent from hell itself to punish me for my sins? Certainly. Today's story takes place and starts in the heart and home that we know as RPG Horror Stories' own Discord. Names are, of course, changed to help keep identities private. We often see influxes of new members, and the day Grunkalina joined wasn't unlike any other. We said our hellos, and things were fine. We thought they were fine at the very least. Why wouldn't they be? How foolish of us. Naivete clouded our pitiful lives. Nothing was fine, because we were wrong. Minutes in and we began to learn the errors of our ways. Something wasn't to Grunkalina's tastes. Like D&D?
Garbage,
She said. Your own personal views?
stupid,
She said. Repeated as necessary until all opposing views were yelled over. She didn't like people that weren't her, you see. Why did she join a group? To cause mass suffering, I assume. Only but a tip of the iceberg, however. She had been in the group for maybe a couple of hours, just telling the party how they were wrong. Enough to throw in the towel and take a break, right? No. It was her first day. And she still hadn't consumed enough souls to return to hell for the night. She must feed on others she considers beneath herself, which was all of us. We knew things were getting weird. The odd comments she dropped spoke volumes, but we didn't want to judge right away. Some of us knew when we'd see her decide to personally slight each of us when the chance arose. Sometimes it was just what she felt like sharing.
I'm ashamed. I derailed or destroyed so many.
We show visible confusion. What does she mean? She can't possibly mean...
I've hijacked so many campaigns.
She does. She does mean what we think she means, but we need to know. We have to ask. In what way?
Ended up a BBEG.
Interesting. Concerning.
Always worked it with the threat owners, but legitimate. You're not BBEG correctly. Let me.
Well, alright then. It won't be that bad if it's consensual with the DM. Right? Right? We moved on. Or rather, we tried. Grunkalina could sense we screwed up, and it was required that we learn how much. Cromslore had hopped into the Beginner Help channel to ask advice. A great idea, one might think. Knowledge is power, after all. We all want to help. At least, that's what we thought. Not Grunkalina. Grunkalina just wanted to crap on someone's day. Having asked for his help, and brought up a game idea for his players which involved cheese, Grunkalina had a single question for Cromslore.
Are you high?
No one really thought much of it. It's just a silly comment, right? Right? Wrong. We're idiots. We can't see the 4D chess Grunkalina is playing. She continues.
This whole discussion is stupid and childish.
She tells us that we must move the discussion of ideas away from the chat that is designed for them, because she cannot fathom anyone running a game that isn't to her tastes. That the ideas aren't on topic because they aren't serious enough. She's not playing the game, of course, but she will not stand for something different. That's just wrong, and we are wrong.
Here, first on-topic message in like 2 hours. Don't do dumb crap for the random lulz that will get you on the sub.
Are the players enjoying the game? Well, I've been told that I DM with an energy of pure chaos that makes every session feel special and fun.
Ha! Ex-adult.
Well, try not to go a bit overboard and maintain communication with your players. Absolutely. I always put my player enjoyment first.
Or stop playing with 5th graders.
I'm 22, and everyone else I play with is also that age, or older.
Not mentally, obviously.
Grunkalina continued to crap on people, until the mod stepped in and called for her to stop. That was warning number 1 of the day. Yes, the first. Grunkalina was doing us a justice by telling us how terrible we were. Another campaign idea came up elsewhere that disgruntled Grunkalina. Ghosts. She gave it one read and declared that if she were to be a player, she'd get up and walk away from the table, because it was too absurd to have ghosts in a game. Can you imagine? Ghosts? With my owlbears and elves? Disgusting. And as she said,
Gross.
she started to digress into trying to vaguely insult people, and the mods caught it yet again, giving warning number 2. During the warning, she continued to call the above idea stupid, because we were too mentally lacking to understand how right she was. Obviously, we are brain dead, and she is the last bastion of hope for humanity, our savior, a guiding light in the darkness. The first day had ended. We could breathe. We had survived with only a few casualties. Opening up a little bit more, she began to regale us with the tales of how much of a party mom she is. No, not the drinking kind. The kind that, when a party of adventurers would adventure, she was there, momming for them. And you see, this is where she mentions how unfortunate she is to be forced by all of her player companions to become the main character of nearly every game that she plays in. They just force her to take the leading role. And they chant how she's the party mom. What a story. Remember how she said that she was also the BBEG in the majority of her games too? No odd vibes coming from that, at all. She mentions it again when no one reacted before about just how great it is party momming. So fun, she describes it. Still not odd. Nope. She goes on to be a hypocrite by saying that her one and only rule is having fun. Of course, when the previous topic in Beginner Help brought up how Cromslor's players were having fun, that was wrong, because it wasn't her kind of fun. Duh. How could we be so stupid? She's the party mom, guys. She knows what fun players are allowed to do today. She always knows, because it's only what she thinks is fun. The conversation shifts, and days pass. People bring up their favorite races to play. Obviously, if you don't play anything with fur or scales, you're wrong. She explains as much, and we're wrong again. She describes how playing human or dwarves or elves is wrong. It is boring. And she would rather gag on utensils, she says. You don't like sports? Well, you may be catching up on this point. You're wrong. Sports are godly, and if you don't like them, you're wrong. Time to insult people yet again, that they aren't fun like she is. The party mom, the maker of fun. She just told you your opinion, and if you mention having a thought of any kind of at all, no one wants to hear it. She'll roll her emoji eyes at you, because you're too stupid to realize that you're wrong. Stop being wrong, and you wouldn't be punished. Crow comes by to talk about his city, and she helps us to see the light. She, having never been there, declares what the city actually is like to the very local that she is speaking to, and tells Crow the truth. Because he obviously doesn't know, for he's too stupid, and she is too smart. She understands all, and has watched a YouTube video on the topic, thus confirming her as the only expert on the planet. We know nothing. We bow at her superiority. She can recreate history and geography in a single sentence. She must be God. It was, after this, that out of nowhere she dropped the line.
I don't apologize for crap.
That's a weird way of saying you're a massive ding-dong, but okay. She's gone a few days without directly crapping on anyone. It's nice. It seems like the warnings really helped to correct her behavior. Perhaps she's learning, and no. The massive jerk resurfaces again. I was discussing my non-magical reflavoring of 5e to match modern-based games, where magic for classes still exist. They're just rewritten to match the current technology of the desired setting. A fireball is a grenade, and so on. Simple. Others and myself were talking about how it worked and how we all hated the idea of just others snipping magic out of 5e and calling it a day. Grunkalina's different opinion nerve was struck. She must speak up.
You, do a lot of mirror gazing then, mate?
Grunkalina thinks that she is funny, and is showing me of how much of an idiot I am. She tries to say that I was snipping magic out, among other untrue claims, just so I could be wrong. She claims that you cannot reword magic at all. That's impossible, and wrong. I must be, because I am not Grunkalina, and only Grunkalina can ever be right. Grunkalina is not prepared for how much I was ready for her to start crap. I call her out, and talk about how all of her comments up until that point have been purely antagonistic and cruel, just like she is. Others immediately join in too, bringing up how she apparently did not read any prior conversation. Deacon tells her how she must be in the same category as a self-confessed sock puppet troll. Error. Reaction not found. She immediately calls for the moderators. More people joined in. They call for the rudeness to stop. Both me and her. Fair. I was out to cause damage, just as she was. We should both bear witness to the staff's ruling. Grunkalina claims that she is not being rude at all, and no one agreed with her. Grunkalina claims how she's being victimized. She says she's irritated that she has to agree with me, or I put on my angry pants. I don't even need to speak anymore. People explain that, no, it's not about agreeing. It's about her being an absolute piece of crap to everyone and then crying wolf if they call her out on her soul-sucking parasitic endeavors. They ask for her to be civil. She ignores it and claims that she's not a sanity leech. People assure her that, yes, she is. The mods discuss muting her, but she gleefully exclaims that that won't work. Warning number 3 waxes and wanes. Retreating for a bit and licking her wounds for the week, Grunkalina tries to go on the down low for a bit, but can't help herself. She immediately starts to fight with someone else because they don't agree with her. We must all have on our angry pants, it seems, because no one can just get along with her. Perhaps it's because we're all too stupid to understand or converse with her. Peasants beneath her genius. We are scum. How terrible it is to live such a terrible existence. People are, at that time, in chat and discussing their disabilities. They are calmly talking about what shortcomings they have, and sharing in their struggles in a constructive manner. Everyone is accepting and kind and generous. Grunkalina thinks it's the perfect time to drop.
This is rapidly devolving into a pity party.
The mods have enough of her dismissing others' lives and experiences, and Grunkalina is immediately kicked. The entire server rejoices. Everyone congratulates the mods and thanks them for getting rid of the gremlin. Deacon has been collecting evidence on every crappy conversation she started, and it was condemning. We feel peace. The thanks continues on for almost an hour, and then Grunkalina rejoined mid-celebration. She says nothing. Finally, the bottomless pit of antagonism has found a plug, and it turns out that the item needed was humble pie. Karma exists. It takes a bit, but Grunkalina speaks again to this time crap on what she considers as fake moral support. She does not like it when she makes a self-shaming comment in public and someone says something nice. How dare someone try to be kind? That's wrong, but it's totally acceptable to put someone in an awkward position by saying inappropriate comments to a stranger. Yet again, the world can't keep up with her intelligence, because they're just so stupid and wrong. Having sucked the life from that topic, she returned to disabilities. As it turns out, she has some of her own, and this time she feels like she's talking about it without being rude. Maybe it's because she's finally the center of this conversation. Obviously, it's a crime against humanity to exist outside of her bubble. This must be why she thought it was acceptable to crap on other disabled people. She just couldn't figure out how to shoehorn herself in that conversation. Don't get me wrong, talking about mental health is important, but it was also very apparent that she didn't give a crap about others' mental health. After being previously kicked, Grunkalina semi-returned to normal. She mentions being a party mom, and how she knows many things, and that they are often the right things, and that we are wrong. Fortunately, she's not directly crapping on people, and life is good. She's made progress to now literally say,
"You're wrong, but validly opinionated."
It is around maybe 3 weeks into joining the server that she tries to change her name and picture to pretend to be someone else. But knowing exactly how she acts, everyone immediately catches on. Eventually a topic of Fallout comes up. Some of us like the games, but don't love them. This makes Grunkalina angry. She calls our 610 or 710 ratings with a calm discussion as
unfair hatred.
And our reasons
Not very strong.
Because, we aren't allowed to have varying tastes or opinions, or lives. We are shadows to Grunkalina, and we only exist for her. She drops from the conversation, only to occasionally inject how she says she can't have an opinion or she'll get another kick or warning, and how unfair it is. She adds what she thinks we think rabid fanboys are like, and that we must hate Bethesda because it's cool, because there is no other option, regardless of us never having claimed any such thing. She pretends to take things in stride, returning again to any topic to insert how much of a party mom she is. Just such a partier and a mom. Not a literal mother, just party mom. Tee-hee. It was, at this time, that it was very apparent to everyone that Grunkalina was a MLP furry. Nothing wrong being a furry. You can like what you like. Grunkalina, however, had an issue with one horror story involving furries. Someone had a furry make them uncomfortable. Grunkalina claimed that being a furry had nothing to do with that guy of the story being awful. Which is true. Her argument was,
the color of the shirt doesn't reflect on the person.
And that
no one deserves to be punished for the color of their shirt.
Great. We all agree. No more than 10 minutes later, someone else brings up the new horror story. This time, the horror story involves a fandom Grunkalina doesn't like. She says how the color of the shirt of that person is awful, and that person should be punished for liking something she doesn't. She demands that they be killed in-game as punishment. The hypocrisy is brought up to her. She doubles down and claims that they deserve it for having such bad taste. She claims it's not the same thing, because her fandom is obviously more important and tragic, and that people are making up things to attack her because she's just a victim. People move on, and we try to forget. Everyone is getting sick of her endless stream of crap. It hasn't even been a full month, and no one wants to include her in conversations because she just shoehorns herself in to be a parasitic flesh devourer. She then makes the innocuous comment,
I'm pretty genial, nice, and tend to be quiet.
This is a lie, if I've ever seen one. I say no words, only emotions as I quote her with a shocked Pikachu's face. She doesn't reply. The conversation shifts to someone discussing a horror story that they were in that involved rape. The speaker was obviously highly uncomfortable in the game when it was being played, and was new to the group and just trying to share. But Grunkalina thought it was the perfect time to try to assert how right she was. She told the new guy how his inaction was wrong, and how he should have stopped the action from happening, and how he was right behind the offender in scale of blame. How dare he be in an uncomfortable situation and be terrified and horrified? How dare he? He should have known better than to exist and have feelings of his own. I call her out for crappy victim blaming, and the cracks appear. Deacon has, at this time, already piled on evidence after evidence to the mods of her behavior. She fake agrees, then jumps to trying to call me out for not putting up with her crap. How awful it is that I
am a rock that will not move.
She calls me a rude word. During her new rampage, she snaps at the new guy she was previously blaming. The staff sees, and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. There are seconds left before the end. The response is quick. I don't think she felt any pain. People weren't even aware that it had happened until they heard whispers of it in passing. Inklings of the final moments. That Grunkalina was finally banished back to the bottomless abyss of hell, where it's believed she still is lording over as the BBEG main character party mom. The only rule is that everyone needs to be having her definition of fun, obviously. Well, guys, I can only really assume that this person had some mental issues, and the only other thing I can really think to say is it shouldn't have taken them this long to have banned this person. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.